Hey everybody, it's Saturday night, August the, shoot, I don't even know what the day's date is. August the 11th, thank you, 2018, I thank you, memory there. 2018, in the news update. I want to talk about censorship. Now, I've talked to some people at some churches where I go and work and where I counsel some people there for CR, and talk to some of the kids that go there and talk to some of the teenagers. And I asked a few of them, have you noticed any censorship going on? Or have you known any of your friends that get you kicked off of any social media like Facebook or YouTube or Snapchat or whatever? Whatever they use. And they said no, they haven't really noticed it. They just seen a lot of people just saying whatever they want. I said, well, the reason why you don't see it yet is because they haven't rolled it out. They're just doing it incrementally. So they're only going after certain people. Okay? And that's why it seems like, well, the censorship is that nobody's being censored when really they are. And the stock truth is they are. Because I know a lot, there's like probably about 30 people that I know that had accounts on YouTube, and even a lot of people on Facebook have lost their accounts, have been locked out of their accounts, and cannot even get on there because they have been removed and deleted, or at least hidden, so you can't get on there. And it's the same for YouTube, but I think I said in another video that Trump is actually working on I think somebody listened to my video, but Trump said something about rolling out a emergency executive order, Bill of Rights for digital protections for people to say stuff online so they're protected, and so that they can be protected for freedom of speech. And I think that's great. And that's going to be rolling out in the next couple of weeks, so you'll be hearing about that during his presidential address. I don't know. I'm not a god and all, and I can predict what he's going to say like I have the inside information. No, I don't. But I heard that from another news source, so that's hopeful and promising. But like I said, they're going to try and engineer that and try to say, well, now that Alex Jones has been reinstated and all these other groups have been reinstated, which have been taken off of YouTube and other platforms like Facebook and things of that nature, they're going to just say, well, the reason why all this stuff is happening in our country with terrorism and with buildings and with violence that's going on, with things getting blown up, which they planned, the corporations are behind this. And also George Soros is behind us, paying big money along with the corporations to engineer these attacks. They're not from provocateurs. These are people that they have kept secret, but they've been training all this in the last 10, 20 years, we believe, maybe a little further than that. So they're coordinating these things. Like, they plan these things way before they happen. And that, it's kind of like series of waves, like Dabu 7 said last night. They're waves. He's right, and I agree with him because it's true. Things happen in the sequence of a series of waves. Like we had Oklahoma, then we had Berkeley, and I'm going backwards. Then we had what happened, in California, and there this past weekend, and fears what will happen here in Charlottesville, which marks the anniversary, which I don't think it's an anniversary, but a memory of what happened there. They're afraid the attacks may happen on the Right March. It's happening this weekend. I think it's tomorrow, or it's next weekend. Somebody help me out. But it's up in D.C., and they said they got police there and all, and they're not going to allow anything to happen to people that are peaceful, or they're not going to let any of the people come in there like Antifa, the anti-social fascists, or anti-First Amendment, that's what I call them, force. Because that's really what they're all about. Block your signs and make all kinds of noises and just want to create arguing and get everybody yelling at each other. That's kind of what was going on at the last two protest rallies that happened, prayer rallies out there in both Berkeley and also in Portland, Oregon, the day before last week. So we'll probably see more of that, more of the same. They won't be able to bring in, if anybody brings any weapons of any kind and they have it on site, whether you're a peace. Really, in reality, you should be able to show up with guns as long as people are peaceful. They should be able to carry them there freely in the Capitol. But if they catch you this weekend with guns up there, whether you're a peaceful patriot or whether you're a anti-First Amendment fascist Antifa or any of those other groups that come in there and want to cause problems like the KKK or any other groups, they're just going to arrest you because that's what they said. They made that clear through a news announcement. So if you come up there with guns on either side, they're going to arrest either one of you. So don't be bringing any weapons of any kind, because they want everybody to have a peaceful thing, a peaceful demonstration, and be able to express their freedom of speech freely and openly, which they should be able to do. Now, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it, because a lot of things I see on YouTube and Facebook I don't agree with and don't like. And I don't think they should be banned it though, because that's their freedom of speech. And it's the same way in society. But see, the reason why you don't see this censorship going on, kids, is because it's an incremental rollout, and that's why you haven't seen it happen into your accounts or your friends' accounts. But you may know somebody that has been banned off of YouTube, maybe for 3 weeks or maybe for 6 months for something, or Facebook, or some other platform. I'm just saying these because they're the most popular used social media platforms. But there are other ones out there. Scene.life, remember when I was telling you about that? Actually, they took that down because they were working with Before It's News, and that was actually a harboring website to get information and to release it to kind of go after the Patriots. Remember how they were promoting that? And I was promoting it there for a while until I looked up the information. If you go to Scene.life, it's no more. There's no website. There's no social media. Apparently people did boycott and they shut that thing down because it was no different than Facebook. They were just out to get all your information and get all your views so they could turn around and sell it. And that's probably what they were doing to the government and to the corporations. So when they get ready to censor people, they know who exactly to go after and know who exactly to take out. And that's really what I think that was all about. It wasn't an alternative at all. Because like I said, I saw that in the EULA, and that's why I stopped using it. I did promote it though in a couple weeks ago, but I looked it up. There's no Scene.life anywhere, so don't go there because you won't find it because it's not online anymore. So that's because people took it down. They boycotted it because it was fake. It was a sellout. It was just like Facebook. It was no different than Facebook. So that's the reason why they're not there anymore, which is good. But we need to come up with a real Scene.life that was like Scene.life, and have one that is not like Facebook, where people can truly speak their mind and not be censored in any way, shape, or form by any government entity. Because people should be able to say what they have to say. It's not unlawful to say what you have to say. But you know how we're going to stop this stuff if we really want to stop it? Because a lot of y'all have this preface that, oh, well, the government's doing this thing, they got a bigger stick, so we're just going to haul in line like sheep to the slaughter and just do whatever they tell me, do what they tell us at the Church of Christ, and do what we're going to do in the church body because, that's what the government says, so we must do what they say because we have to follow the authorities of the land. Well, that is true generally if they're doing things that are morally right and morally sound that are scriptural. But if they're doing things that go against that, then that's where the line is drawn. And this is going against freedom and going against moral grounding. So therefore, you need to stand up because that's what Scripture says. There's a line that's been drawn in the sand. It's been drawn in the sand for a while, folks. So we need to stand up against freedom of speech. We don't want our freedom of speech to be taken away, or any other amendment for that matter, just because some Democrats want to go in there and change it around, or some other malicious group that's foreign, that don't even belong in our country or in our affairs and don't have a right anyway, globalist or Illuminati or any of them, idiocity or whatever you want to call them, or any Chinese governments. They don't have no right to meddle in our affairs, just like we don't have no right to meddle in their affairs and censor their web. And if they want to do that to their citizenry, that's fine. But when they're dealing with the citizens here in America, they should not be able to touch it. They should not have no control over the internet. I mean, that's why Trump needs to get on the horn and really do something. Another way we can talk about this is calling up your congressmen, your housemen, your senates. Those senates they have, they're useful. You need to use them. Call them, email them, fax them, physically mail them. Actually go to places where they're at, like where their headquarters are, their offices are, or go to their home if you know where they are, and tell them you're outraged at how they're censorshiping people, how to pulling people off the air because they speak the truth, and say you're against it because this is not right. I hear people saying stuff. Well, I'm glad they've taken Alex Jones down. No, he was horrible, But this guy was telling the truth, and whether you agree with him or not, because some things that he said I didn't agree with, and some things he said were truthfully controversial. But I don't think that he should have been taken down because a lot of things he said more so were right, and I do agree with. But the thing is, a lot of people are saying, well, he's never really said anything. He never really went off because he would always go off about things, but he never really said anything. You know why he didn't say nothing? Because he got the plug pulled on him so he could not respond. But, he's been responding on other media platforms on YouTube and different things with different personalities. He is responding to this, but he's not able to respond out on YouTube because he doesn't have the ability, because they pulled his channel and deleted, hid his channel from everybody being able to have access to it. So that's why he's not been able to respond to it, adequately like he would have if he had his own channel, like everyone else has. I mean, that's a no moron thing. I mean, yeah, he was angry. He actually did respond on another news show, because I did watch that, and I didn't agree with the foul language some, but I can understand why he's angry, and that may be why he used it, but I still don't agree with that. But he has a right to be angry because it is just an unfair attack against him. And then there's other people saying that his left eye on his video was red. On one of his videos on July 31st, they said the eye in his video looked reptilian, and that he was part of the Illuminati. I mean, I don't know where these people make or fashion this stuff together, but it's crazy stuff. I don't believe that, but that's what they were trying to say on another news channel, that his left eye is red, so therefore he's reptilian. I mean, it's crazy. Truthfully, we're all reptilian, kind of, because that's part of the fall of the sin in the Bible. We have a little bit of that in our DNA, because all DNA is in human DNA. If you study it and look it up, it is in there. The only thing that makes us different is the DNA. I mean, what makes us 4% from an ape to a human being is 4%. DNA, the difference, 4% can make you look radically different. Well, we're reptilian too because of the fall. That's why we lost our greatness. And matter of fact, professors speak about that in Bible, in creation, and talk about the fall. And they do believe, this is a theory, but they do believe and conject that there is some truth to that why we have lost some of our greatness. I mean, you got to realize Adam named all the animals and all the plants of the world on the first day of creation, and this is before, that pretty woman Eve came along in the garden. He fell asleep because he was tired, and I imagine he was tired when he had to name all the plants and fruit and vegetables and, name all the animals by their name. He gave all them their name, by name, and then I guess he did fall asleep, and, that took a lot of intellect and a lot of intelligence, but God, placed that on him because he was the first human. And then he fell asleep, and he woke up and said immediately, instead of realizing he had a real pretty lady there, he said, "Who took a rib out of my side? A rib's been taken out of my side." So instead of having 12 ribs, he had 11. But the thing is, we are partly reptilian a little bit, and so, there is some truth to that, because that's all part of human DNA. All DNA is made up in human DNA, if you study it a little bit. And so there's some truth to that. But I wouldn't say he's part of the Illuminati or whatever. I don't believe Alex Jones is part of that any more than I am. But, these people fashion and make up all this stuff and just put this stuff out there is just really crazy. But to be saying that, he's, a lot of people will be saying, and they just don't know because they don't know about Alex Jones. They might have watched a few of his videos, before it was pulled off of YouTube or hidden from view, because I think that's what happened with W7's videos. That's why his channel came back and all his videos were intact, because they basically just removed it where it was not accessible, and they still have the content, because probably what they're doing is probably going through all his videos and trying to mount up false cases and narratives about what he said, to say that he was violent and say that he did inappropriate things, and then saying that he said things that were that were just not true, and making up things. And that's what they do. And, there's people, just regular people, have been employed, because I saw that on Craigslist and other places where they're getting people to work for Facebook and YouTube and all them to censor people. And it's not Facebook that's actually doing it. It's a third or outsourced kind of thing. It's just regular people going in there, and if they don't like you, they can just ban you, or they're using bots to do it, computer bots that do it. Because it's just like when W7's channel came down, he was saying the other night on his channel that, the decision usually takes a couple days. He got a strike and they put a strike on him, and they banned him, and it happened so quick. It's like it should have took a couple days, because he tried to repeal it, and then immediately when he sent his repeal in, because they gave him a chance to repeal it, like they usually do, to say why you said what you said or what you did. And of course, like with Alex Jones, there's no real evidence that shows what he did that was wrong or inappropriate. They just cite that he did inappropriate things or said inappropriate things that go against the EULA of YouTube. But they didn't cite examples or list videos or show exact clips where it happened in all his videos that he has on that channel. But they just automatically just said that he did inappropriate things. The same like what they did with Dabu 7, the same pattern. So that's what they're going to do with all of us. They're just going to make up things and say, well, because you said the truth or you said something they didn't like, it pissed somebody off somewhere, so they just banned at you. And it's probably a lot of this third source, people that are working for these companies that aren't even really having education. They're just doing it for an $8 an hour job just to try to ban you. And or it's computers. It's it's computer intelligence. It's central. CIA. It's not CIA, but artificial intelligence. Doing it. And that's why I think that thing got ejected so fast, because it was done through algorithms and done through just forced just to do it with a computer. And I think they were testing out this firewall when they did all this stuff a few weeks ago, when this happened to Alex Jones and a number of other people. And I think that's what they're going to do to roll it out on for the rest of everybody else. This actually has a conservative voice, which is so wrong and evil on so many fundamental levels. Fundamentally speaking, it's so wrong in so many different shades of color, and it shouldn't be happening, because everybody should have the right to be able to say what they want to say, as long as they don't break the law. And I may not like some of the things that Alex Jones says, or I may not like some of the things Dabu 7 says, but I don't think they should be banned from YouTube or from any platform, or be removed from the web, period, even if they have their own web pages. Because that's the next step, is once they take you off these platforms, then they're just going to go and block your page. You're going to remove your page much the way they moved you from off of the social platforms. That's the next step, because that's the next part of their plan. So first is to remove you off of social media, to silence you. And then if you have your own web page, and they can go to it and all, and they can remove you by you using denial service tax, or they can just outright just remove your page off the web, because the Chinese people are all in it. It's just like Apple. Apple, that makes the iPhone, has moved their company, and along with Google, has moved all their operations conveniently over to China. Isn't that interesting? And that just recently happened within the last month. So it makes you wonder what's going on here. Who the cape is, or the elephant is in the room, because that's where all this stuff has come from. China. They're the ones behind this stuff that's sold on the freedom of speech, because somebody's made a deal in the bed in between the sheets. And that's really what it's all about. And it's just a lot of people just don't even get it, because they're saying, well, it ain't happening to us. I mean, I see a lot of stuff on Facebook that's really dirty and really bad and stinky, and they should have been banned, and violence and everything. I don't really see it. That's what kids say. But you got to realize, well, it's because it's incremental, like I said earlier. They're just gradually doing this to people. When they start to do it all the way, then you'll start realizing it, and by then it'll be too late, because you'll be too asleep. You'll still be drinking the red pill and taking the red pill instead of taking the real green pill, the right pill, and waking up and seeing reality and seeing what's going on. Your speech is being taken away. So that's why we need to do all these things. Call Congress, call Senate, call the president if you can. Email him, fax him, snail mail him, mail all these people. Find out where they live, find out where they work, and go to their addresses and give them a complaint. Say you don't want your freedom of speech to be touched on the web or even in the real world. Because like I said, if they can take away that, they can take away everything. That's why we all need to band together. This doesn't have to do with whether you're gay or straight or white or black or Muslim or whatever you are. We're Americans. And we all need to come together and band together on this issue of freedom of speech. Because it affects everybody in that every demographic and every culture and every religion in this country. And if you don't think so, then you just keep waiting, keep dreaming, and keep smoking that pot and keep going to sleep, and you're going to find that out. Because you're going to be banded off of these platforms too. And you're going to say, oh, I didn't do nothing. Well, Alex Jones didn't do anything either. It was all made up. It was all lies. Same way with Dabu 7 when he lost his channel, but he got it back. So Alex Jones is going to get his channel back. And then they're going to try to manufacture wars in the country and terrorist things, and then blame it on all the conservatives, because they need to have tougher limits on the internet. That's what they're going to try to make a case. I can already tell you before it happens, because that's what I saw in the white papers. So we need to get this out. We need to expose this and stop it dead in its tracks, so this don't see the light in reality day. Thank you, everybody. I love you, and let's stand together for freedom of speech. It doesn't matter if you're gay, or whether you're lesbian, or whether you're transgender, or whatever gender you want to be. It doesn't matter. Or if you believe in God or you don't, because this is something that affects every demographic. It's going to affect you once they start pulling everybody off the internet because they don't like something you said or something you put on there. So think about that, because that's freedom of speech. And yeah, they can make up anything because they did it to Alex Jones, and they did it to Dabu 7, and they did it to a number of other people. They're doing it to Drudge. They did it to Ron Paul, and they're gonna do it to you. And it's just gonna be a matter of time. This is Michael DeSilvas. We got to stand together. It doesn't matter what demographic we are. Please send a donation, and by the way, please subscribe. Don't be bashful. Please send a donation or love offering. It's important to subscribe and share this video far and wide. I mean it. Don't just take what I say and smoke it out your butt, but really do something and really have a heart and really stand for something. Don't be afraid and think that, oh, it's hopeless. There's nothing we can do because this is what the government's going to do. Because if you have that attitude, then you're going to let the government come into your home and rape your children and do whatever they want with your children too. Because a lot of you have that attitude, and if you don't want them doing that, well, you don't want them to be taking away your freedom of speech either, because that's the way a lot of these, that's what's going on out here. And that's, a lot of people have that attitude in the church. Well, the government's doing what they're doing, and that's their right, and I'm hopeless, and there's nothing to do. And I just told you what you can do. You can have peaceful protests too. Add that to the list of what you can do to stop it. You can go up to Washington. You can hit on all these congressmen, Senate, House's doors. You can email them. You can snail mail them. Paper mail. You can call them up. You can fax them until you burn those lines all up. You can go up there in person. Anyway, that's how we're going to stop this thing. I'll see you later. It's Michael DeSilvas. I love you. And take care, and let's all work together, because this is something that's affecting everyone, not just certain groups. Trust me, because they're only doing it incrementally right now. But when they roll it out, it's going to affect a lot of people. And I think a lot of kids are going to be shocked when they see half their videos, all their friends gone, because they've been removed off the web because of something they said. Because that's where they are really doing. It's not a joke. It's not a fantasy. It is going on. You just don't see it because it hasn't happened to you yet. But don't worry. You will be next if you just sit there and be quiet and put your head in the sand. Take care. And I don't want that to happen. So that's why I put these videos out. I love you. God bless.